Like, it changed my input on game banging. Like, I'm from Hoover. I'm still from Hoover. I'm always gonna be from over there. That's where I was born at, raised at, grew up at. Like, I can't change that. But what made me look at game banging different, I was like, damn, how many years am I gonna be faithful to this shit and be out here doing so much shit for this game and I ain't gonna get nothing back? Like, it's like you start thinking like, damn, I'm being used. Like, I'm out here doing all this, nigga. I'm out here doing, like if I would have spent all these years in school, nigga, I'd be a brain surgeon or something.
Nice little net hustle. Big shout out to SPI, Spotter Low. You know, I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.
All that and then some to the income. Hit the YouTube streets, find a corner. And being one, we've been hearing about prisons being big business, private industry for years. And it always seems to go in one ear and out the other. Even though we all know people incarcerated, we see the recidivism. I've always had trouble with that word, but we see the in and out. You know what I'm saying? The rotating door. So many times people return. And we know it's big business, but now it's being reported that if the institutions do not have enough inmates, there's being lawsuits. I just find that extremely interesting. So therefore, we're going to react with no further ado. Let's see what the big business of prisons have been up to.
Private prisons are allowed to sue states when their occupancy numbers are lower than what they previously agreed to.
There are owners of private prisons that have been contracted by the states to put their prison in that state and put people in prison that are suing those states because they promised them a certain amount of occupancy. And since they've changed some of their laws to be more lenient on locking people up, which has reduced the population in the prison, and now they suing them for that makeup. Because
what this has proved, there's the integrity of the whole prison system cannot be trusted because there's a monetary motivation in order to get inmates into the prisons, man. It's crazy.
Because they promised them more people than they got. This is how much of a business putting people in jail is. That because they operating at 50% and y'all promised me 75, 80%, I can sue y'all now because y'all ain't locking up enough people.
And then you got to be careful how you even ask Google this question because it'll answer in different ways. First it's like, no. I'm like, okay, so this is false. I asked it again, kind of different wording. And then it said no, but it said it doesn't focus on it. And I'm like, I picked up on not focusing. So I'm like, if it doesn't focus, that doesn't mean that it isn't part of the lawsuit. The bed guarantees right. And then the third time it's like, yes, it does. It said private prisons sue states primarily for low occupancy rates, particularly when contracts include bed guarantees, clauses that require states to pay penalties if a facility is not kept at certain capacity. They may also sue states or challenge laws that aim to ban private prisons or restrict their operation. Lawsuits over occupancy rates, says bed guarantees. Many private prisons contract contains clauses that obligate the state to pay penalties if a facility occupancy falls below specific percentage, such as 90% to 100. So if they're not at 90 or 100% occupancy, they can sue the state and make the state pay that money back and pay penalties.
That's crazy. Now, how many how many cases are going to be reviewed retroactively? To see if the integrity was maintained throughout the proceedings with this type of shit going on, man.
As well, you dig what I'm saying? The financial viability of private prisons depends on high occupancy, creating business model that can be incentivized by keeping prisons full. So it's like, so this means it's a great time to revisit this false argument that Charlie Kirk used to make, right? And all the white folks that got behind it. First, they used to say that black folk led the crime in every statistic. When you look at this stat sheet, it shows that white folks lead in crime. In how many categories? You can see going up.
Shout out to homie channel. The name of the channel is Camp Stamp. Go subscribe, man. Camp Stamp. It's like you go to Camp Snoopy or summer camp, stamp on an envelope, food stamp like the government just took, camp stamp.
On the list. Well, black folks, we lead in two categories. You know what I'm saying? So first, it was a false narrative, and then second, whoever's leading in crime in whatever state, you can see why the incentive would be this way, right? Because so whoever's leading in crime in whatever state that we're talking about should be very outraged about this law. Because when you look across the land, it's the reasoning that the police have to just mess with you for no reason. The stop and frisk law that they enacted, where they could just stop them. I think that was in New York. They just stop and frisk you, profile you for no reason, lock you up. You know, find something to lock you up for, right? And then keep you entangled in the system. It's the way.
That phrase was made popular in New York. But let me let you know, in Los Angeles, that's been a way of life my whole life.
Of the world, especially the United States, where they want to keep you tied up in this stuff because corporate hands have investments in you to be tied up into the system. They don't want you free. Because how can they get money out of you if you're not free, if you ain't in this bed? You dig what I'm saying? It should be illegal, but it's not illegal, and it likely won't be illegal even if we make an outrage and a stank about it. You know what I'm saying? It likely won't be. The toothpaste won't.
Nah, it ain't gonna be made illegal because I'm sure individuals like you and myself, Brother Stamp, there's some loopholes that we're ignorant to that makes this logical. Because we're living in a capitalist society and this is a corporation, so we thinking about the morality of good and bad and punishment, and they're thinking about the way a corporation is designed and expected to function. And we on, man, was we living in a cold matrix.
Go back in the pack, so to speak. They're getting too much money. It's just like asking the healthcare system here to
Cure cancer.
To go to free healthcare, right? Like they do in Canada and other places, right? You're like, oh, how do they do it? They just do it. It ain't hard to do. But see, it's so many hands invested in this system of first keeping us sick by keeping a fast food on every corner so that we can go to the hospital and then have to go to the hospital and to where we taking 12 pills.
Just because the fast food is on every corner does not force us to eat it. They also have grocery stores. If you go 2 more corners, there's a grocery store on every other corner. So, you can go there and get produce. We living in a matrix, but there are some portions of it that you do not have to participate in unless you choose to. I eat my fair share of fast food. I'm just saying it's by choice. Look like he ain't skipping a drive-through either. Oh, blah, 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 blah.
Every 2 days. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would they want you to be healed when they can keep you sick and they can get money out of you and they can get astronomical amounts of money out of you? $800 to take a ambulance ride from around.
Imagine money being an unnatural resource. So all the natural resources and experiences that are really rich in value are all quantified by a certain dollar amount. And they'll treat you as a natural species, as a natural element in this world, demeaning in order to get an unnatural dollar out of you. They have created something and placed a value on it that is straight unreal. We all bite. We all bid in. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Around the corner. You dig what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to relinquish you from that. And they're not going to relinquish us from being tied up in these prison beds, right? They're going to keep you there. It was a friend of mine going through having to drop and all this type of stuff with the getting caught drinking, right? And had been doing everything right. Ain't drunk nothing. Took all the classes, did everything he was supposed to do, right? He got a text saying he wasn't supposed to drop that day, right? The judge or whoever was over his thing put in manually for him to come and drop after they sent him the text saying you don't have to come drop today, right? So when he didn't show up, it shows up like he violated, like he did something wrong. So when he came in the next time, he like, listen, I got proof that said they told me not to. I didn't have to drop one today. Well, you should have came in anyway and checked manually. And they proceeded to lock him up in like a.
Now, that sounds janky however, it's not his personal story. And it seems as if they were asserting that was probably an already predetermined condition, regardless of the text. It's your responsibility to check another outlet to see whether or not you're required to test. And if that's not the case, yeah, that's straight bush on my mama.
A facility, not a jail, but it was like a facility, whatever, for over 30 days. When he had proof, and his last officer or whatever that he was dealing with told him, like, no, he has proof. He's been doing everything right. They don't care. They don't care. However, the person is feeling that day, that's how it's going. And it's more incentive.
It do happen like that a lot of times, and keep it in mind with the theme of the video. I see the point he's making. They just be trying to rack it up so they can stack it up. Otherwise, they going to get sued and they going to crack it up.
For them to keep you entangled in the system. Years ago, we had something called driver's responsibility in Michigan, right? Where you had to get, if you had a suspended license, you had to get this right to get your stuff back in order. And I'm calling to pay it off, right? I had been hustling everything up, got my money together, and it's like a 2-year thing. 2 years of fees. And so I'm trying to pay both years off so I can get my license back immediately and be on the road again, right? They would not let me pay this thing. And I'm like, ma'am, can I speak to a supervisor or something? Because I don't understand that you're telling me I can't pay these 2 years off. Sir, I'm not here to argue with you about this, that, and I'm only here to take payments. And the only payment I can take is for 1 year.
I went through a lot of arguments with people on the phone at businesses before I learned 9.9.97% of the time, it's not worth it. I know pockets through the years, let me speak to somebody else, and very few times the situation turned out better in my favor, but not enough times where I've stuck to that practice of trying to roar up on people on the phone. Usually, that's wasted time.
Of this process, which means they're not going to give me a temporary driver's license until the. No, I got to stay looking over my shoulder while I'm driving. I mean, I didn't mean to say driving, while I'm walking everywhere that I'm going, because I'm a law-abiding citizen that wouldn't drive anywhere on the driver's on a suspended driver's license. I'm laughing at something else on TV I see over here. But you know what I'm saying? It's like they would not let me pay to get out of this program because they wanted to keep you wrapped up in it. And this is the formula.
Yeah, I got a DUI a few years ago. They ran my pocket so cold, man, I bet you I won't get another one. So them running your pockets, at least in that system, is effective for a lot of people. I can't speak for everybody.
Of how this system works. It should be legal, but like I say, it's not going to be legal. First of all, the people aren't fighting enough against it. We ain't pushing back against it enough for it to even be considered. But they wouldn't allow it even if we did, I don't believe. Because there's too much money wrapped up in keeping people in prison. It's too much money that's exchanging hands. First of all, the private prison, for the fact that it's allowed to be private, a profit for prisons to be private and then to be profited off of, right there is a conflict in interest, because it's telling the rest of the police force to make sure that enough people are locked up, whether they are innocent or not, that we can make a profit. You dig what I'm saying? So that's a problem right there. And the fact that the states and them made a deal is even more problematic, because now the state is going to make sure that this happens as well, because if it doesn't, like you say, then they can be sued and the state can be penalized. So who suffers? Likely people of color, right? Because we're the first expendable.
Yeah, of course, but you already established that we are not the majority of the prisoners. So anyone, dealing with this prison system is going to suffer.
Right? But anybody is going to suffer under that. Whatever the population is, they don't care. We just need you in here for something. And then once we get you in here, then we have no reasoning to keep you sane, to rehabilitate you. All of the recidivism is not, they have no reason to want you to get.
Recidivism. He said it so smoothly. Recidivism. Gotta just say it a lot of times, I guess. Recidivism.
Get out and prosper. I want you to get out of jail and get a job and, do right and be a great American citizen. They want you to get out, and they give you every reason and parameter. They make it very easy for you to break, to do something wrong so that you can return. Because it equals more money for them. So why would they want you to get out and prosper? They're going to put you on probation and have you doing all these things, jumping through all these hoops. First of all, don't nobody want to touch you because you're straight out of prison, right? But
I don't know, man. It's a lot of programs for people who've been incarcerated. I know every time I've been in prison, came home, my parole officer was able to help me land a security job. I think we've also developed a culture of a lot of people utilizing their experience with catching cases as more of a handicap than it actually is. So a lot of people who've had a past of being incarcerated and breaking laws out here thriving, doing extremely well in society.
welcome to what black folk go through, because it's a stat that says black folk are treated like prisoners. Just going like a a regular black person going in applying for a job, they treat him with the same respect as they do prisoners. That's a fact. As far as how they look at the application and where they're going to give it a chance, black people, they did this in the study, are treated on the same level as a prisoner would be, a felon would be, right? You know what I'm saying? But it's just how the system is built, how the system is made. As long as they can keep making money and profiting off of prison being a thing, then they're gonna keep you there. They're gonna give you long extended sentences to be in there, and even if they don't give you long sentences, then they're gonna give you long probation times.
I couldn't get recidivism. He got it easy, but he couldn't get extended sentences. He just threw the extended part out. That's crazy.
Where you get out and you can't do nothing for 5-10 years, you're on probation, you can't have a drink, you can't smoke nothing, you can't party, you can't do, you know what I'm saying? Can't be caught around people
Those are some extreme conditions. Can't have a drink, can't have a smoke in today's society. I don't know how those things end up as conditions of a lot of people's probation. A lot of time when the case don't have nothing to do with these type of things. That is extreme.
They got this, that, and the other going on. They give you very strict parameters because they know it's going to be pretty easy for you to break those things and fall back in. And they'll be waiting on you so they can get that money off you just as soon as you do. You dig what I'm saying? It's America. Should be illegal, but it ain't. And it likely ain't going to change, because why would it? It's just like politics. Why would we expect politicians or president or mayors, or why would we really expect Democrats or Republicans to get anything for the people, right? Why would we really expect them to look out for us when the truth is they're in these jobs looking out for themselves? They're getting paid by lobbyists who are lobbying, right? Let me help you run your campaign. Let me give you these millions to run your campaign. to get you out here and get you elected so that you can do favors for me. So the people with money are really what run the country, right? Because they're using the politicians as pawns. Because you're beholden to me now that I got you in place. I put you here by giving you that millions, that 10 million I gave you to run your campaign. So, yeah, you're going to do what I asked you to do to make it easier for my corporation to operate. Why would you listen to the people and create a law that's going to stop my motion and I helped you get here? No, shoot that law down. Make sure your boy good. Make sure I can keep getting this money. That's how that works. And until money is taken out of politics, it will never be for the people. We can complain, as we should, and we can try to change things within the parameters of what we're given. But if we're going to be honest about it, you know, change ain't going to come unless they want it to come. And you know what I'm saying? Why would they want it to come? It's like asking, it's like, just like you say with the medical, why would they want, if they could keep you taking 8 pills a day for the rest of your life that they're selling to you at an astronomical price, right? And then if you do fall out because you didn't take the pills, you got to pay that $800 to get a ride from the ambulance back to the.
Yeah, he didn't pay that 800. He thought that he got that bill. The ambulance just took him around the corner. It cost him 800. That traumatized my man. He don't like that 800.
Hospital, you know what I'm saying? And then they're gonna charge you $3,000 while you're in there. Why would they want you to to be healthy? They wouldn't. You know. But that's the price we pay living in America. It's the greatest and the worst at the same time. But it's your boy P Camp. Let me know what you think, what you don't think. Get at your boy.
Man, I went to the emergency room for an injury to my ankle. It wasn't broken. It wasn't sprung. I spent some hours there. They did some x-rays. They gave me, what did they call it? And I was surprised that they gave me that because it wasn't what I thought it would be. Was it an IV? But then they gave me whatever. But that was like $7,000 bill. Hospital be taxing. Oh, my mama. Dude made some good points. However, I do believe we got to be a little more diligent about the decisions we make after being incarcerated, a little more realistic about our expectations, a little more humble, and a little more assertive about changing our lives. I think there are a lot more opportunities available than we typically like to acknowledge.
Niggas spent all these years on the block. And ain't got nothing to show for it. And then what a nigga do got to show, a nigga got on my own. So what I need you niggas for? Now I start to look at y'all like enemies. So in our reality, like I said, we gotta humble ourselves and we gotta come together, man. We gotta love each other. Cause that's what it's really about. Cause man, black people, we got the strongest, we the strongest. Like in jail, nigga, on God, they separate us. It's 14 blacks to 72 Mexicans in there. And I told the police, I said, why y'all put us in there with all these Mexicans? They said because that's how it break down. Like that's how y'all can handle them.
Yeah. Snakewood and that Hustle. Big shout out to SPI, Spotter Low. You know, I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.